weaknesses. In Bahamians, you need to look at the current administration and recognize their strengths, if they have any, and their weaknesses, and they have quite a few weaknesses, quite a few shortcomings. And we need to examine the facts. We need to examine the evidence of what we have before us, because it's important that we make sound decisions and good judgments. Now, there's been this talk about the two leaders having a debate prior to the general election. I don't know how much sense that would make, because the two leaders of the two parties, each one of them run in a particular constituency, and they have to be elected to the House of Assembly. That's one aspect of it. And once you're elected to the House of Assembly, that individual who commands the majority of the members of that House will become the one who will eventually be named the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Bahamas. There's no such thing as running for the office of Prime Minister. Get out of your heads, Bahamians. I don't know why people like to spread misinformation, you know. There are 39 elections going on at the same time, because you have 39 constituencies. That's why it's called the general elections. And this show is called Wake Up Bahamians, the General Elections Special 2021 with Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson. And we're going to be discussing the electoral process in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. You need to understand it, Bahamians. It's a good thing that we have, far better than what's happening in Afghanistan and other places around the world where people are trying hard to have a democratic system. They've been under tyranny for so long, and it's very, very difficult for those people, even when they have a chance to become democratic. There are problems by those who don't want that to happen. We have it in the Bahamas. Bahamians, our mothers and fathers, fought very hard for this democracy that we enjoy today, and we have to keep it, Bahamians. And in order to keep it, you need to participate. You need to participate in the parliamentary democracy of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Now, of course, you have the party democracy. That's a whole different kettle of fish. And we just seem not to get it clear. Party representation and parliamentary representation. When you look at the persons in your area who have been nominated in that particular constituency, all of them are vying for that seat. The seat belongs to the Bahamian people in that particular constituency. Let me make that very clear. It doesn't belong to any one particular political party. You go in the House of Assembly, see if you see any labels, this is an F&M seat, that's the PLP seat. Utter nonsense and foolishness. Or even the DNA seat. Well, they didn't have any yet, House of Assembly. But the point is, the seat belongs to the people of that particular constituency. And the people of that particular constituency will send a particular personality to represent their interests in that house. And that's the job of the representative, to represent the interests of the people of that particular constituency. That is of extreme importance. And sometimes you have political parties that try and interfere with that kind of representation, and that causes a problem. I believe we have a caller on the line. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please. Caller, you there? Caller, you there? Madam Producer, I'm not hearing the caller. I guess we'll just have to move on. The point is, the particular individual in that area represents, or ought to represent, the interests of those constituents, what it is they'd like to see happen in their particular constituency, the kinds of things they would like to see happen, and they speak through their representative. But there are times when political parties, as I heard one particular senior member in a particular party told representatives that they are tied to the party. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please. Caller, you there? Caller.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes, sir. How are you?
I can just barely hear you.
I guess my producer will deal with that to make sure that you hear.
Come again?
I think the producer will deal with the volume so you'll be able to hear me.
Okay, I'm hearing you better now.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
See how quick that was? That's how efficient they are in here.
Yeah, okay, wonderful.
Yeah, go ahead, caller.
Yeah, no, I indicated to you that I would touch base with you. You mentioned that you may wish to speak to me concerning the workers' agenda and the memorandum of understanding that was signed
Yes.
by the unions and the Progressive Liberal Party.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, so I'm making myself available to answer any questions that you may have with regards to that.
Okay, that's understandable. We may have members from the public that might be interested. I didn't get a chance to go over the information. I'm happy that you sent it to me, and I didn't get a chance to look at it thoroughly, but I've heard some things, and let me just put this one to you. I did mention that there was some in the NCTU, the National Congress of Trade Unions, certain union groupings that were saying publicly that they were against the memorandum of understanding between the TUC.
Okay, Mr. Thompson, let me explain this. The memorandum of understanding that was signed by the unions and the PLP.
Yes.
Came out of the workers' agenda.
Okay.
In fact, the memorandum of understanding mirrors the workers' agenda, which over many months was worked on by members, the leadership of the Trade Union Congress, as well as the leadership of the NCTUB.
Yes, okay.
Right? And so, in May, that was released to the general public, to our members, for all to see the work that was done. And I do not believe there is one single union leader who would have an objection to the workers' agenda, because all it did was set out those areas that we would wish for attention to be given on behalf of the workers in this country. And so what had happened after releasing it, we had a newscast and a release, and we had a press conference where we addressed what was in that
workers' agenda.
Workers' agenda.
Okay.
Subsequently, that was sent to all of the political parties, and over the past month, 3 of those organizations met with the workers' representative, TUC and the NCTU.
Yes.
And they were DNA and the Coalition of Independence.
Is that
both?
That is Lincoln Baines Group, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right, okay.
And they both agreed to to that agenda.
Yes.
In fact, the coalition said that they would they have no problem with any of it. They accept all of it. The other party that met with us was the Progressive Liberal Party.
Yes.
They too stated that they were in agreement with the workers' agenda, and they elected to put it in writing, which we had no problem with.
Yes.
And so they took the ingredients from the agenda and incorporated into a memorandum of understanding, which was personalized with PLP. Anyone, one of those groupings could have done that.
Yes,
but the
okay.
PLP put their money where their mouth is.
Yes.
And we had no problem with it.
Okay.
And hence, on the 25th of August, there was a signing. Now, as it relates to some of the dissension that was showed by some persons from the NCTV, I can't speak to it. That's a internal matter that we don't want to get involved with. But I will tell you this. Those persons who you hear speaking to it, if not all, most of them would have been a part of the preparation of the workers' agenda.
Yes.
You know, and so I think I can understand what's happening, but the workers' agenda cannot. Person cannot sidestep that or not support it,
Okay.
because it is something that is from the workers, and we spend hours and hours preparing what we prepared.
So what I'm understanding, if I understand you clearly, is that the unions, in both the umbrella unions, agreed to the workers' agenda.
Yes, sir. We both agreed to the workers' agenda.
Okay.
And that is what we were putting out. We were telling our members and the general public that these are the ingredients that you should put to those persons who are offering themselves to represent you.
Yes.
And if they are in agreement with that, these are the persons that you should consider supporting.
Okay.
Mind you, we can't tell anyone who to vote for.
No, that's
right?
understandable, yes.
But we recommended, we recommended that if persons are prepared to support it, you should support them. We have a saying, do not support anyone who do not have your interest at heart. You for me, I for you. And the Progressive Liberal Party has put their money where their mouth is,
Right.
and they've signed off, and hence we are where we are today. Unfortunately for the Thompson, the Free National Movement chose not to engage us on the workers' agenda. And so it is fair for me to say or assume that the Free National Movement do not support the workers' agenda. Because had they supported it, they would have spoken to us. But, you know, we have a history with the leadership of the Free National Movement.
Yes.
They don't support. Mr. Minister himself has told us on several occasions that he does not support unions.
Okay.
You know, so he has tolerated us, and they will do some stuff, right? But Mr. Minister does not support unions. He does not, right? And he had a great opportunity to come to us and say, well, you know, my position has now changed. But the only thing we have to hold on to is that he does not support the union.
That's the lead. That's the lead of the FNM.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
You would, minutes.
Okay, I'm happy that you mentioned that, because I'm thinking of Article 24.1, which is an entrenched provision in the Constitution which speaks to labor unions and other organizations. And it is rather interesting. And that's why I've said to people on the show, examine the evidence of everything that these political parties have written and see whether there's anything in there that speaks to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas. See, the Constitution is our supreme document. And if there's any grouping of people...
Can we get a little bit more volume, please?
Okay, all right. I hope my producer just stepped out a moment. You should back in a moment. But what I am concerned about is the fact that these people are being elected to perform a function on behalf of the Bahamian people. And if they do not support the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, I have a serious problem with that.
Yeah, me too.
Because the Constitution is your document to run the country.
Yeah.
So you write all kind of crap on pieces of paper and say you're going to run the country with that. That is why it is important that the voters of this country, as I've said to them, the best possible candidate in your area to be your next representative in the House of Assembly. And as you talked about the workers' agenda, this is a serious thing. We got scores of thousands of workers out there who are the bedrock of this nation. And if you leave them out, see, this is why when I speak about the Constitution, I tell people, I need to get the message to the average Bahamian so they can understand. The point is, when you leave the workers out, the vast majority of your people out, I have a serious problem with that. And since you have made it clear that this particular personality, and I'm not surprised at what you said, because I've seen some things myself, all you have to do is watch the behavioral patterns of certain individuals. Listen to what they say, then watch what they do. So I'm not surprised at what you said.
Yes. And that is all I want the Bahamian people to appreciate.
Yes.
Nothing invented, right? We did a work, NCTUB and the TUC, we did the work, spent hours coming up with document, which we put out, and we asked our members and the Bahamian public to support it.
Yes.
And we've gotten support to it. Now, we know that even as trade unionists, we may be saying we recommend this and recommend something else. We understand that they are all our members, and there are different supporters of various parties.
That is true.
Right?
Yes.
But that does not stop us from saying to them, look at the workers' agenda.
Yes.
Right? Support those persons who are supporting you. And right now, in writing, sign off on the Progressive Labour Party has done that.
Yes.
And for me, it is easy. Now, let me share this with you in public. I have not been a supporter of the Progressive Labour Party, mind you.
Yes.
But today, this coming election, they will be getting my support.
Yes.
And I am going to encourage workers of this country to support the Progressive Liberal Party.
Yes.
Mr. Bruce David and Progressive Liberal Party. Now, I know some of my colleagues might not say it like that, but I am just direct. I know for some persons they may not be able to do it, but guess what? I will say this for them. The Coalition of Independents and the DNA agreed. So if they have any problem, if they have problems supporting the PLP, then they have those other two. But
yes, sir.
Definitely, the Free National Movement, that party does not support the workers' agenda, and I would not encourage them, supporting them. But to each his own.
Right. Now, one point that I want to mention, Brother Rockmore, is these arrangements with these foreign investors.
Mm-hmm.
We've had some very bad arrangements in the past.
Yes.
With these foreign investors. They have left a lot of Bahamians high and dry. We've not gotten our monies. You look at the GIN project down in Grand Bahama, a complete fiasco. The project in Meguana, the same thing. And I would hope that the two umbrella unions will put the kind of pressure when the appropriate time comes to let these things be made known to the public. Because the thing is, you're talking about the workers of this country. I do not think these things should be secret. I don't think they should be hidden in no closet. You know how many scores of thousands of people are affected by these bad arrangements between the government and the foreign investor, and then be left hanging dry? I could cite you example after example after example. So when I heard that point which was mentioned about these agreements, I said to myself, I will say and suggest to the two umbrella unions to please make sure that you are involved in these arrangements.
Yes, sir. If you
on behalf of the workers.
Yes, like you said, you haven't had an opportunity to fully go through the workers' agenda.
That is correct. Yes.
But once you do that, you will see that we have asked to be a part of the governance, right? So we want to be involved, at the very necessary stages when we get involved with these foreign investors.
Yes,
to ensure that the workers of this country are able to benefit.
Oh, definitely. Oh, yes. I certainly agree with
You know,
that. That
and
is
so
true.
and so that is part of it. So you have an opportunity to go over it fully.
Yes.
And like I said, the MOU just mirrors the workers' agenda.
Yes.
Personalized to the PLP.
Well, I appreciate that.
You know, and so if you want to talk to me at any other time,
Well, Brother Morris, I can have to call you back, you know.
that's
I
not a
have to call
problem.
you back. There's no problem with that.
477-1902 is my number. 477-1902.
Okay.
You know, and so I'll be more than happy to share. There's nothing happened under the table. Everything was on the level.
Amen.
The same information that the PLP got, we gave to others. Right?
Yes.
Same information. They all agreed, but the PLP, I guess, in their experience, they put it in writing into a memorandum on which we agreed.
Yes.
And the rest is history.
Okay. That is well appreciated. And Brother Morris, I really appreciate you calling in and giving me a heads up on this, but I will definitely be in touch with you before the election season is over.
Not a problem. I'm retired now, so I have a little bit of time on my hands.
Okay, good. Well, we'll be in touch, and thank you very much for calling in.
It's my pleasure.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, take care.
Right. That's Brother Rock
Bye-bye.
Morris, my good friend. And I am just delighted to be called in about the workers' agenda because the workers of this country have been abused. We have had many foreigners coming in here. They don't want to recognize Article 24.1. How can we allow that to happen? It's happening on Paradise Island right now as I speak. This should not be. But we got to stop this foolishness and this nonsense. You don't want to recognize the rights of the workers. You want to mistreat workers in this country. Scores of thousands of them. It just can't work, Bahamians. The workers are the bedrock of the society that we live in. They're the ones that make things happen. They're the workers. And they have a role to play, a dynamic role to play. And I'm going to say to the workers, please, let's use Article 24.1, that numerical strength that you have, because I'm going to tell you, we're going to need it every step of the way from here on out. And any political party that does not respect the rights of the workers, you ought to know what to do with that particular political party. And so you cannot and ought not to allow yourself to be taken advantage of. Once the information comes to you and is accurate, it's precise, it's reliable, it's dependable, it's responsible, I go with that, particularly when it comes from the correct source. And so I'm happy that Brother Morris did call in to talk briefly about the workers' rights. I'm going to go in detail in that, and at a later time I will certainly be in touch with him again. The lines will show open 326-0271, 326-0272. I was talking about the election special that we have before Brother Morris called in. But Bahamians, this election is extremely important. I don't want you to waste your vote. Don't waste it. We're going to go to a break now, and then we'll be back after the break. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on Elections, General Election Special 2021, Global Radio 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break.
If your vote didn't matter, then wouldn't try so hard. Vote like your life depends on it. I'm exercising my right to vote, and you should too. Vote, damn it, vote!
Being a mother and a wife, I know the struggles that we face in our everyday lives. Hello, Bahamas. My name is Nelda J. Fox, born and raised in the beautiful constituency of Fort Charlotte. In my manifesto, Fox Future for Fort Charlotte, here are three main principles I would like to focus on: education, agriculture, and health. With your help and your vote, together we can do this.
EDM Fort Charlotte headquarters, located to number 41 Quarry Mission Road off Nassau and Tyler Street. Call us today at 1242-828-4902. Call now.
We going again with mackerel pie. Going tobacco pipe, and I approve this message.
Your yard should be more than just a yard. It's where memories are made and peace is found. Getting around to doing the lawn may not always seem easy, so leave the tough job to the professionals. Budlow Lawn Care for all your yard maintenance and grass cutting needs. Starting at $70, we provide quality, affordable lawn care. Find us on Facebook or YouTube or call us on 451-5734. Budlow Lawn Care.
Everybody, no more sleeping in bed. No more backward thinking, time for thinking ahead. Wake up, 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 wake up.
Yup, everybody white or black, you better go and vote and get them off your back. Now the taste is a gift that our people have to fight for. And the price will be personal for anyone to get more. Voice to be heard.
We're back. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson, Wake Up Bahamians to General Election Special 2021 on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. Bahamians, I was delighted to have that conversation with Brother Rock Morris about the workers' agenda. It is a very serious matter. We have seen how workers have been treated in this country. Their labor has been exploited. The Constitution is against labor exploitation. People must be given their just due when they work. But there are some who don't want to do that for whatever reason. And workers have to be united behind their unions, their leaders, to ensure that they get their rights, freedoms, and privileges protected. It's a good thing we have unions. What if we didn't have any? What if there was no Article 24.1? Because it starts off, except with his consent, no person shall be hindered in the enjoyment of his freedom of association. That is to say, the right to form or belong to trade unions or organizations for the protection of his interests. That's why you do these things. If the employers were taking care of the workers, there would be no need for trade unions. But you have to have them. It is important that we have them so that the workers' rights can be protected. And I think as we move forward into the future, we're still going to have trade unions. Because you have carnal nature, being what it is, there will always be some greedy employers who want to take advantage of workers. Because you have some workers that are not unionized. They have to be protected too, you know. Because they too will be exploited. Your labor being exploited. And some people become slaves in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And the Constitution is against that. No man, woman, or child shall ever be slave or bondsman to anyone. You could become an economic slave. Slave wages, come on, man. That's a serious thing. You are depriving the workers of their rightful place in a law-abiding society. And so it's important that when we see these wicked things raising their ugly heads in political organizations, in churches, in other groupings in the country, you've got to rise up and fight it, Bahamians. Because the enemy will continue to try to infiltrate and keep you down. So you have to rise up and fight. Now, this is a political fight that we're in, the election, and it's choosing a government. And it's no good having a government that is against the workers. What's the point, Bahamians? A government that doesn't care about the workers of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas? What kind of nonsense is that? That is why it is very important, and I'm going to stress this straight through this election campaign. You have to choose, or you ought to choose, the best possible person in that particular constituency, among all those persons who will be running, they got more than 7 in some areas, running in those particular constituencies. Because you got to know who you're sending to the House of Assembly. Because from the House of Assembly, you're going to have a government. Some members will form the government of the Bahamas, and then 2 or 3 out of the Senate. But most of them will come out of the House of Assembly. That's how the system is set up. And the Prime Minister will be selected from among the members that sit in the House of Assembly. There's no such thing as running for the office of Prime Minister in a general election. That is utter nonsense and foolishness. The leader of the PLP is running in a particular constituency, which is Cat Island, Rumkey, and San Salvador. The leader of the F&M is running in the constituency Kalani, here in New Providence. And if they have any hopes of becoming Prime Minister, they have to win that seat. Because you have to be a member of the House of Assembly. That's one qualification in order to be in the office of Prime Minister. Then, the next point is, number 2, the party that commands the majority of the members of that house, the leader of that party, would become the next Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Or, there's another option. You understand all these options, baby. You may not have a particular party with any number of seats to command the majority of the members of that house. So therefore, the Governor General has to look among the members of that house to see which individual member commands the majority of the members of that house. It can happen that way. Now, in the past, it has always been a wide sweep. One party get a massive majority, like in the last election, the F&M got 35 seats, and the PLP got 4. So the leader of the F&M at that time was given the mandate by the majority of the members of that house to be the Prime Minister. That's what we have today. House has now been dissolved, so everybody's on an equal footing, but the government still functions. The point is, Bahamians, you have to choose wisely. Do not be foolish, because we have plenty of work to do in building the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We've suffered a lot in this place. Plenty of suffering. And so we have to make sure that we make wise decisions, sound decisions, and good judgments. And so if you go and spoil your ballot, that could be a problem. And we have a combination of factors that has come to my attention. I don't know if it being like this in any previous election. This is very serious because events could turn out differently from the way one may anticipate. So you cannot take anything for granted. You have to take your parliamentary electoral procedure very seriously. You have to know what you're doing. And don't let anyone swing you. And as Brother Morris said, if the fella ain't for you, but you wouldn't be involved. For what? You support who support you. I could agree with that. Article 24.1 says the same thing. For the protection of your interests. You're not protecting your interests if you're voting for someone who's not interested in you. As simple as that is, there will be those who will be foolish enough to go and spoil their ballot by voting or choosing the wrong person. Now, let me just say this. We have made many mistakes in the past in this country. The evidence will show that we have sent people to the House of Assembly who know nothing about the Constitution. That's point number one. Point number two. Those persons who sat in that House, the overwhelming majority of them, especially in the last sitting, did not represent their constituents. They just sat there and they allowed things to happen. They didn't speak out on anything that was affecting their communities, their constituents. People suffered. People died suffering. People getting wet up in the rain. People got put out of their houses. People lost their jobs. And Hurricane Dorian, let me just say this. We still don't know how many people were injured, that's one. Number two, we don't know how many people died from Hurricane Dorian. Even in Haiti with the most recent earthquake, they have numbers on how many died, how many injured. And you mean to tell me the storm that hit Grand Bahama and Abaco, today we do not know how many people died and how many people were injured. I don't know. What kind of nonsense is that? There's only 2 islands in the Bahamas and the Keys. What if the storm had hit all the islands of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas? We would really be in trouble. We'd be in serious trouble. And they still haven't built any new shelters, as far as I know. If you know if any have been built, then you better call in and tell us. Let us know. They're still using the same buildings that were there before. Some of them were destroyed. But no new ones that, as far as I know, have been constructed. No new shelters. And we had a heavy category 5, 150 mile an hour winds, and even higher than that. But the thing is, Bahamians, we still don't know a lot of details about what happened with Hurricane Dorian. What about the money? The over $1 billion that was pledged. Bahamians, you can't forget these things, you know. The money that was pledged, the money that was donated, all those services. And yet still, even up to this day, some people are still waiting for their $5,000. $5,000 to do a little something to help them from the hurricane. And it's 2 years done past. 2 years. So what has happened to them over the last 2 years? Bahamians, is the way you do things. That is important. How you handle the people. And the people will speak to that themselves. And some have already spoken. They had that anniversary ceremony in Abaco. I don't know if they had any in Grand Bahama, but they had one in Abaco. And the people closed the shops on September 1 to have a service to remember the persons who perished and who were injured in that devastating hurricane. Lives were lost. We still don't know how many were lost. How many people died. We don't know. So how come we don't know? How much money was collected? We need to have a proper accounting. This government, this current administration, talked about transparency and about accountability. We still have no accounting of the money. What happened to the money? What happened to the $1 billion that was pledged? What happened to it? And some other monies that were collected and put in some bank account somewhere in the United States and some other places. What about that money? Bahamians, a government is responsible for the welfare of its citizens. Now, many times they don't do the job. They just don't. So when a government falls down on national issues, the nation suffers. And that is why I will tell you, as I've said on all these shows, watch what your government is doing. Listen to what they say. Watch what they do. And there are times when you have to act very swiftly. Article 24:1 again, which gives you the power to act in your best interest. Ain't no time limit on that. That can happen at any time, any place, anywhere, when the opportunity presents itself. But the people have to be willing to move. This is not a one-man thing. You don't sit back and allow one particular person to take on all of that responsibility, because it's not for one person. It takes the collective will of a people in a given community, in a given constituency, coming together as constituents, concerned citizens in that particular area to advance the cause so that life can be better in their country, in their community. But if you sit back and do nothing, nothing happens, Bahamians. And unfortunately, that is what we have been doing. We sit back on our butts too much. We don't act. And we've had these activists, and let me warn these activists again, please, do not take on any community issue, or any constituency issue, or any national issue by yourself. It's unconstitutional. And as well as I know the Constitution, I won't even do it, because it's not my job to do that. It's my job to tell you about the Constitution. That's a different kettle of fish altogether. The point is, it takes the will of the people to make things happen. Now, something can happen with one or two persons, or even three or four. But there are times when it takes more than that. And that's where the people have to come together. Not necessarily all of them in the constituency, you know. 51% or more. I always use that marking point. 51% or more of the constituents in a given constituency coming together for a just cause and purpose. We don't see that happening in this country. I haven't seen it happen over the last 5 years. And if you know of it happening, I don't see it happening. It has not happened to my knowledge. If you know if it happened, you better inform me and let me know. If it happened to Family Alice, let me know. But I watch these things very closely. And I have to say that we need to have our people to be alert as to what is going on at the constituency level, what is going on at the national level. The government of Bahamas still functions. Now, how does it function? What is it doing? Is it acting in the best interest of the Bahamian people? You heard what Rock Morris said about the Prime Minister. He's not interested. The party, the FNM party with its leader, they're not interested in workers' rights. They're not interested in protecting the interests of the workers. So you ought to know what to do with them. It's clear. Let me tell you something about the principle of the Bible. God said, you walk contrary to me, I will walk contrary to you. If a political party walks contrary to you, Bahamians, you walk contrary to that political party. If a government walks contrary to the Bahamian people, you walk contrary to that political government. It's just that simple. God says plain, you walk contrary to me, I will walk contrary to you. These fellows ain't better than God. Same thing applies to the church, or the leadership in one church. Huh? Some of them think they own the church. Church is a body of believers. But Bahamians, you got to look and see when these wicked things are coming out. These evil things are coming up, because evil is all over the place. enemy is always prepared to find someone, a willing loose cannon, ready to do mischief and damage, to hurt people. The lines are open, 326-0271, 326-0272. You may look at the candidates in your area, and Bahamians, call in and let me hear what you have to say about the candidates in your area, and how many you have in your area, what you think about them. Because Bahamians, we have a serious decision to make. We need to choose the right persons. And let me just say this, while it's in my head right now. Some people say it doesn't matter who's there. It does matter. It does matter. It does matter who sits in those 39 seats. Don't throw your hands up and say, whoever wins. No. That's nonsense. Utter foolishness. You have a responsibility as an eligible voter. I got to say this slowly so you'll get it. You have a responsibility as an eligible voter to make a sound decision and a good judgment when you go in that box on September the 16th. Now, some of you go in on September the 9th. You want to let them fellas hold your ballot for 8 days or 7 days, but that's up to you. I ain't gonna let them hold it for overnight. Now, that's a personal decision. I'm accustomed to doing it that way. It's advanced polling thing, you know. So many funny things happening now in this country today, where you have a government in place that is not interested in the welfare workers. That's a serious thing. That is a very serious thing. You have to know who you're dealing with. Listen to the statements from this particular character. Watch the behavioral patterns of this particular character. I've been watching from day one, the very day when the man was sworn in as prime minister. And I could go down the line and list one thing after another. But this individual has said, and it never came to fruition. Never. And the evidence is there to prove it. You remember when he told the Bahamian people, told the fellas to leave the country, those who were here legally, December 31, 2017. The then Minister of Immigration, the Honorable Brent Simonet, the government was to follow up in rounding up all who stayed in this country after December 31st. Didn't happen, Bahamians. The people just laughed at us. They took us for a joke. And the immigration problem has gotten worse. It is at its worst state now than ever before. I mean, in the midst of a general election. In fact, the people were so wicked and so bold, they come right under the nose of the Defense Force, right down there in Coral Harbor. Defense Force officers couldn't see who was coming in or who was going out. Couldn't find them. That's how slick these people are. Now, how could that happen? You have trained people. Are they supposed to be trained? To protect the interests of the Bahamian people. That's what they're supposed to be doing. But yet, these illegal people were coming in right under their nose, and they didn't see what was going on. And that's just one. And there's so many other things that happened before December of 2017. Huh? But just point out that one. That is a real problem. We're going to go to a break. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break.
Everybody white or black, you better go and vote and get up off your back.
concern, now go and get the word out. Rest assured you'll be heard. Any problems come round. This your voice, this your right for the life of liberty.
I'm exercising my right to vote, and you should too. Vote, damn it!
We going again with McAlpine. We can't lose with McAlpine. Pine which keep on holding on, keep moving strong with McAlpine. The man for all seasons,
Working for you.
every time you call on him. McAlpine coming through. No matter how big the problem, he's there for the people. Working together, making it better. We going again with McAlpine. We can't lose with McAlpine. Pine which keep on holding on, keep moving strong with McAlpine. Pine which go mock your edge to McAlpine. McAlpine is the best. McAlpine, keep moving strong with McAlpine.
I'm Educate Bahamians, and I approve this message.
Being a mother and a wife, I know the struggles that we face in our everyday life. Hello, Bahamas. My name is Nelda J. Fox, born and raised in the beautiful constituency of Fort Charlotte. In my manifesto, Fox Future Before Charlotte, here are three main principles I would like to focus on: education, agriculture, and health. With your help and your vote, together we can do this.
EDM 4 Charlotte headquarters, located to number 41 Quarry Mission Road off Nassau and Tyler Street. Call us today at 1242-828-4902. Call now.
Good Bahamian feel-good food in the right atmosphere. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner.